Hello, I'm Archie Luxury and welcome to the program. Today I'd like to talk about my literature that I've collected on wristwatches. And in the last couple of programs I've put together, I've showed some of the beautiful books, the Audemars Piguet book, my Rolex books, and some of the beautiful Patek literature. But you don't need to own a Patek Philippe to have some beautiful books at an affordable price. In this segment here, I'd like to highlight some of the less expensive books that are in my collection. And often these books I've bought from a newsagent or a discount book clearance house at very reasonable money. The most important thing is to be persistent and constantly looking out for good bang per buck books. A couple reasonably priced books. There's this book here by Judith Miller, Watches, and it's quite a thick book. And this book here I bought at a clearance house, and it really wasn't terribly expensive. It's got some fantastic photos, some really beautiful pieces in here, and it just gives you a beautiful look at some wonderful timepieces, and it's got some wonderful quotes next to the pieces. Classics like Rolex here are in this book, and that's a really good book, under $20. Another great book, I got this from a newsagent. You people in America don't have newsagents because Walmart put them out of business, I believe. But newsagents are little shops that sell stationery, newspapers, magazines, and do a Google search on them. And this here was at a newsagent in Kenmore, which is sort of an upmarket suburb, and this book here was about $20, and it's a hardcovered, really nice thick book. It's Watches, Eyes on the Time, and it's by Tessa Paul. And this is just a very lovely book. It shows you the progression, how watches came about. Just don't want to rip this sucker here, but it's got some wonderful pictures, some wonderful content here, and it tells you all about watches. I mean, it's not the definitive holy Bible on wristwatches, but it's a really cool book to add to one's collection. And as I say, $20. That's a beautiful book. Beautiful book. Another book that I found. This was at a discount book. This is like these are in the city. They're like, when I say discount clearance bookshop, they've moved into empty tenancies, and they have a temporary bookshop where they sell liquidated stock. And this is a great book, James Bond, The Man in His World. So this is a book about James Bond, and the reason I bought it, I'm a huge James Bond fan. Can't you see the resemblance? And I got to say, it's got a wonderful. This is a wonderful book. It tells you about the movies, and the thing I love about it is that it talks about the cars, it talks about all the Bond stuff there, and I should have actually earmarked this book here, because they actually have his Rolex is in this book here. But you know, one of these things, you try and find the page on camera, it doesn't really work. So just looking it up there. So it's 68, it says. So yeah, it's a great book. It's a great book on Bond, and Ian Fleming, who had a Rolex Explorer 1 as his own personal timepiece, and it's really fantastic. So it shows you the gadgets that Bond used. So that, you know, in my opinion, that goes into my book collection on watches, because the James Bond sub, he's such an iconic icon there, and you know, you've just got to keep an eye out. This here is a Miller's wristwatches, how to compare and value. Again, you know, it's got some really, this is a really cool book. I think I bought this one on the internet. I just searched for watches and books on watches there. It's got a great section on some really cool brands there. Tells you about it's quite interesting how different authors cover the topic. And for example, they've covered a 5107 that Archie's got. So I always love to see watches I own turn up in these sort of books. You know, it's the same model. You know, mine's a yellow gold one. This is sorry, mine is a white gold. This is the yellow gold one that turned up. So that's a cool book. I think about $30 I paid for that there. Another great book is I only got this within the last 12 months. Is Colt Watches, and this again, each author attacks the topic in a different way, and this looks at sort of the top 10 watches there, and it's a lot of watches are things I love, like Breguet Type 20, and I thought, hey, I couldn't argue with that. That is one cool watch. So Colt Watches, that's another great book. I think that was about under the $30 mark. So that's not an expensive, wasn't that expensive. And then there's a great book I got on celebrity watches, and it looks at some of the watches that celebrities. Again, this book here was about $30, and it's just a really, really cool book to have to add to your collection. No one book is going to be the Holy Bible in watch collecting, but it's by having a few different books, you're going to get different opinion, different emphasis, and it can be done cheaply. A lot of these books here, I didn't pay a lot of money for, so you don't have to just buy the big expensive ones. Hunt around for the cheaper ones, and that's what forms a good library. It's not just the most expensive books you can buy, it's a collection. I'm Archie Luxury, and I hope you've enjoyed this video on affordable books on wristwatches. Yeah, I think that went across well, Archie. Not every bastard can afford that Patek shit and AP shit. You gotta keep it lowbrow for some of those cheap fucking tag owners.
Do you mind if I stay for a while? All snuggle up in each other's arm. Do you mind if I stay by your side? Just looking at you all the time.